Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, welcome. Episode number 162 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook right now. I want to thank everybody listening on all those audio podcast platforms out there, including SportzWire Radio, man. I tell you what, guys, these guys that I got on the podcast today, Dylan and I are excited, man, because they are belt collecting around the USA. They got to be the hottest tag team. They are the most must-see, man. I'm telling you. When you hear the phrase, never miss a new guys match, all you got to do is watch one match and you know why. For the first time on the podcast, the current Dreamwave Tag Team Champions, Jake Bosche, Scott Stanley, the new guys. Welcome, boys.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here.
Quite the introduction.
Well, you know, I try to do my best, man. So, you know, thank you guys for being here. I know, usually talking is not your thing. Well, at least it's usually not Scott's things anyway. So, so thanks for taking the time today to be on the podcast, boys. So how we feeling, man? You guys were in Milwaukee over the weekend. Did they treat you right in Wisconsin?
Oh, they did not treat us right, actually. No. We won the match. However, his foot was on the rope and they restarted the match, and then we won again. And this time they grabbed the ref's hand before the 3 and then kick him in the groin and disqualify themselves to keep their gold jackets.
All right.
So we're a little bit mad about that, but I definitely did learn a thing or two from that experience. I'll tell you that.
It's all right. We'll be back in August, though. We'll be back, and we're taking those golden jackets from TAU. They have had a 2-year reign with those jackets, but don't you worry. They'll be on our shoulders here soon enough.
Fair. So a couple boys from the St. Louis area, man. So, high school sports, any of that kind of stuff happened for you guys? Football, anything before you guys jumped into wrestling?
Yes, sir. So I was a pitcher in high school, but I never went to college or anything for it. So I don't have anything that necessarily translates to wrestling.
Sure.
I just love wrestling and felt like I needed to do it.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it was hockey. I played hockey for 15 years. Grew up, played, traveled all over for it. Played for 3 teams in high school.
Nice.
My senior year,
Nice.
won a state championship. Was pretty sweet.
Okay.
Here's a
State
little,
title.
Here's a little gift for you guys.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at that.
it is.
Wow, look at that, man.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
you
So now I see where the influence of the merch comes from, Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Putting it all together. So, so how did you guys meet, Jake? Scott, doesn't look like a guy I would, no offense, Scott, but, he's not a guy I would go up and maybe introduce myself to. I'd probably kind of wait and, see if he ends up speaking to me later on, you know what I mean? That kind of way. So how'd you guys, start running together?
Well, in the nature of wrestling, opportunities, when you first start, you really got to take whatever comes your way.
Right.
And before neither of us, I think we had each had about one match, and we trained at the same place, and we were just kind of doing our thing, planned on doing our own thing. But I think somebody came to me with an opportunity to do a tag match, and I need a partner if I'm going to do a tag match.
Right.
And so I saw this guy hitting the bag, and I was like, hey, man. And I did very worried, a little worried, because he's an intense guy. I did play hockey, but I don't know about,
right? Yeah.
I don't know about all this. There's not a whole lot of this in hockey.
Yeah.
But
right.
I went and asked him, and he just decided. He said, "Can I fight people?" And I was like, yes, yeah, come on in. And so and we just rolled with it from there.
Sure. So let's talk training, man. So all the ring announcers around the world announce you straight out of training. So who had their hands on you, man? Who guys taught you how to run the ropes and such?
So whenever he was face paint, it was Warhorse, but now nothing matters. So I guess I don't know. Does it even matter to name him as our trainer? But yeah, he was a big mentor for us early on. And then Cody Lane as well. He taught us a lot. And then we also have Mike Outlaw and Camaro Jackson there as well. So we had 4 great trainers who made us who we are today.
Nice. So when you guys got presented with, being a tag team, had you always kind of loved tag team wrestling? Had you, was there a tag team you were like, you saw growing up, or you saw, or did you always kind of have the idea of being a single?
Yeah, so honestly, I came in with the idea of being a singles guy, but then I got hurt about 2 months into training. So Bosch and I kind of started at the same time, if you really think about it, once I got back from my injury. So we were just kind of right there parallel with each other. So I kind of got into tag wrestling a little more as I was training. So I got into FTR, Briscoe Brothers, Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, the stuff that was going on in the modern day. But I've always been a fan of tag team wrestling, but it was always more of a, okay, this is the other part of the show, not the main part of the show.
Sure.
But now I definitely have a respect for tag team wrestling, probably more than a lot of people, where it's like,
Sure.
I think tag wrestling should absolutely be not just the other part of the show, but it can be the main part of the show as well, if done correctly.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I totally agree with you. And, I think you guys came on at a time when tag team was really needed, not just in the Midwest, but in the whole country. You know what I mean? Like I may be a little biased, but I kind of feel like we set the tone here in the Midwest a lot of times. And, if it was hurting in our area, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's probably hurting everywhere. And I kind of feel like it was, now it's, now the attention's coming back again, I mean, because, you guys are wrestling people like the Hardy Boyz and stuff. So, you guys are making people pay attention. It's wild, man. And obviously we'll talk about that, but, but childhood memories, you guys see anybody on TV or, like, was there like a St. Louis icon wrestler that you was like, that's our guy, you know what I mean? Like, anybody growing up, that inspired you, probably other than the commissar, right?
Or commissar. For me, it's kind of funny. When it comes to tag wrestling, I really wasn't like, when I came into wrestling, I really didn't even think about what I wanted to do. Like I was just like, I just want to wrestle, like whatever the hand is dealt. And I think I also kind of just like only knowing about WWE was like, oh well, they'll just tell me what I am and I just got to do it. But it ended up the realization of, oh, you have to actually create your own thing in the indies, and there's no producing, and there is to an extent, but like,
sure,
you know what I mean, like. But no, once I figured it out, and the athletic stuff has always been the biggest, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be as athletic as possible in the ring. And I think tag wrestling just added 2 extra chess pieces to that athletic, like, just that dance. And so it's just a challenge that I wanted to take on, and I just have loved it since. And I'm constantly just trying to find new ways to, like, up that challenge for myself.
Yeah. It's a different psychology than singles wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And, so did you go, did you see like any indie shows live, before you trained any of that kind of stuff, like, to just kind of go see what the scene was about?
So the story was I went to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis and with my stepdad, and I was
2022, right?
Yeah, 2022. Yep.
Yeah.
And we were
there.
like, damn, they're all kind of no diss on anybody in the WWE, but we were kind of surprised how short they were. We were just like, they're not like, we're the same height. Like we all thought they were like 6'8", 6'7", but like me and my stepdad are same height, so it's like, we were like, their height, that's doable. And so I kind of threw it around. I was like, maybe I could try this. And I think he took that a little more seriously than I did. And so he dragged me to a St. Louis Anarchy show in Alton, Illinois.
Yeah.
And I saw Camaro Jackson. And he ended up being my trainer. But like at the time, I was like, this is the coolest dude in the world. Like he's got this towel on. He comes out with the big brass music.
Like, yeah, man.
This is cool. This is really cool. And so I didn't want to talk to nobody at the table, but my stepdad grabbed me by the shirt and dragged me up to the table and was like, ask him how to start. And then, that's kind of how it all started.
Nice.
For me, the first one I saw was a GCW show in Dallas, because at the time I was living in Texas. I originally was living in San Angelo, Texas, so I drove 4 hours just to watch the show. I went up alone, watched it alone, and had a great time. I got to see the Briscoes for the first time because I really didn't know anything about the Indies at that time. So this was my first real experience with the Indies. So I got to see the Briscoes, I got to see Thunder Rosa, I got to see I got to see Joey Janela, like all these people I had seen on AEW, but to see them in a indoor soccer field was like, and then with glass tubes and fire for my first experience, like it was like, okay, this is a whole nother world here that I can tap into. And then the next weekend, I went to New Texas Pro, and it was in this. It's literally like a little warehouse, and it was in the middle of winter, so there's like no heat in there. So it's like pure indies for my second, time seeing anything like it, and I'm just getting the full experience. And I was like, I feel like I need to do this. Like, even before then, I felt like I needed to do it. I put on like 40 pounds of muscle, like preparing for it, but I didn't have anywhere to train because I was just so far away from any big cities at the time.
Sure.
So I was just lifting, and because I was a pretty small guy, so I was just lifting, trying to put on some weight. And so I would just ask every wrestler that I met. Like, I met Thunder Rosa, asked her, she told me to go to St. Louis, or whenever I moved up here at the time, it was called Team Ambition.
Right.
To go there. And then I talked to Lee Moriarty. At the time, her name was Roxanne Perez. Yeah. I talked to all of them, and they told me to go to Team Ambition as well. And then I finally moved up to St. Louis, and I was a little hesitant to start wrestling. So I went to another GCW show at Pops, and I talked to, again, at the time, they were called the Bang Bros. I talked to Bang and Matthews, and I was like, where do I train here? And the first place they said was Team Ambition. So literally, like, the next day, I signed up for one of their tryouts and did that, and haven't looked back since.
Hell yeah. So you guys, you get your training done, and we're off to the races now, right? We're taking bookings. Who'd you tangle up with first? Who was your first match as a tag?
First match as a tag was in a barn in Edgewood, Illinois, in front of 10 people. And I'm wearing black tights with black knee pads and black kick pads. And he's wearing black
Dylan's shaking his head. Were you there?
No, but I know what you're talking about, but I was not at that one, no.
All right.
Yeah, the Thursday night throwdown 0-1 barn is quite infamous and notorious in the area. So
sure.
But yeah, no, we had our first match there against B.A. Malkin and the Luminary.
Nice.
And at the time, they were in a tag team called The Light. And we lost pretty quickly.
All right. So you go out and shine them up, make them look good and nice, in Edgewood. So so now you've been wrestling for a little while. Who was if you're watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, I got the boys here, holding some gold. Which titles did you take home first?
So our first one was actually the one that around our waist, the WrestleMax STL titles. Okay. We took those in a ladder match. It was with Moses and Raheem. Moses the Deliverer, Raheem De La Suede.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Oh my gosh, it was such a long time ago.
I know, right?
The Premier were in that match, and then it was
Outlaw and Cam. Is that right?
No, it was a couple other guys who don't wrestle anymore.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We pulled the belts off the ladder, and No, that was
So and you get these titles first, and then next thing you know, you guys are wrapped in them literally. You know what I mean? You're taking pictures of just being drowned in gold, and that had to feel good, right? You know what I mean? Like that many promotions, you're doing that well. You guys are selling tickets now when you're on the posters. You know what I mean? So you're really off to the races, like on your own. Are you guys studying anybody right now? Like you looking back, like watching any tag teams together, from say like the old days, or even from like the 2000s, 2010s. Like you anybody you kind of watch and check out.
I'll let Scott go first on this one.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't really tape study a whole lot of tag teams. I tape study a lot more of like brawlers, because Bosche and I, very clearly have different styles. It's just whenever we get in the ring together, we mesh well and work as a team whenever it's time to. But whenever it's time to get in there alone, that's kind of what I focus on as well, because if you get in there alone and can't stand your ground, then you're screwed as a team. So I know I've been watching a lot of clips from All Japan back in the 90s. I didn't really know about Kenta Kobashi, so we've been watching a lot of that. But yeah, like just All Japan, learning about that history has been super beneficial to a lot of what I've been doing recently.
Sure. So we kind of briefly mentioned, talk about it, man. I love Pink, man. I don't know that I ever really even said that out loud very much, but you know, I love you guys' curler schemes. You know, who makes the gear, where they come from. You know, you did answer a question, you know, about it because you know with the hockey influence, man. But yeah, man, I love it. You know, and then you know, you guys got the kind of color waves going on with Fitchit, you know, sometimes, and you know, who comes up with those ideas? Who's the brainchild in those between y'all two?
It's always such a like it's, you would think it would be something very thought out and very like this is gonna be like some big like deep thing, but honestly we just have fun with it. Like we've had 3 sets of gear now. We had our black, yellow, and red set of gear, which was based on a album cover with John Hall or Oates and Hall. Sorry, that was one of Scott's ideas. I'm not too familiar with the word. But he put me on and I liked it and it was fun. And then we did a shirt with that as well. But I don't think the shirt really ever got it. We never really like got around to printing the shirt. But it was a nice, like just a cleaner colorway, darker, that stays less dirty.
Yeah.
But then our first one was red, white, and blue. The initial idea was for it to be inspired by the Miracle jerseys from the hockey movie. But then whenever we started the team with Ben Truss, we kind of just switched it up and decided, well, you know what, let's do the same colorway, but let's conform to kind of what he's doing. Just because we firmly believe that if we're ever in a team with somebody and it's a permanent thing, we got to all look the same. Like it's so easy to make your stuff feel important if everybody looks the same.
Right. And it makes you look so professional too.
100%.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, 100%. No matter how the gear. Yeah, exactly. You know. All right, so perfect segue here. So you said you were talking Hall & Oates, you know what I mean? So, you know, and of all the people that I've talked to that found out you guys were coming on the podcast, this was probably one of the most asked questions. And, you know, okay, so I don't know if you guys know this. So, you know, guys like myself, you know, a little bit in the older days, you know, we remember a band called Mountain. Okay. You know, and we remember, you know, 1969 Woodstock. These guys played this legendary song called Mississippi Queen, you know, at Woodstock, you know, and it turned out, you know, so many people have went, you know, back and forth, you know what I mean? And have covered the song. And I feel like, you know, if nobody's ever even seen, you know, the new guys wrestle, right? They hear that song come on, and if they're of a certain age, like me, obviously they're going to be like, oh, shit, man, what? They're coming out to this song? So I got to know why, you know, how you guys ended up with the Mississippi Queen. And but before you tell me why, I want to show you, if you're watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, this is what the band Mountain looks like. This is them from 1969. This is the lead singer standing up in the back. He's got wild hair. Obviously, these guys, you know, like, you know, they come from the late 1960s. But the Mississippi Queen, though, what a great intro song. But tell me why, boys.
So it's kind of funny because like it, and I'll let Scott go first. But I do want to. We each have our own reason for why Mississippi Queen is the song. Yeah. And there was one day when we were like, just the first few days getting ready for that first tag match where we were like, we need to pick a song. And we both said Mississippi Queen without even knowing we were thinking about it. It was kind of one of those, that's like, cool. Wait, what? Like, we each had our own reason, but I'll let him go first.
Yeah, so I think the big thing I do for a lot of our videos is the way I come up with them most of the time is by listening to music first. Because if I don't know what song I'm going to put on the video, then more times than not, I don't have a video. Like I visualize the video as I'm listening to music. Yeah. And early on, I knew the first video that we were going to make. I knew exactly how it was going to go. But the reason I knew how it was going to go was from listening to Mississippi Queen. So, like, I heard that song and I was like, it's got everything that you need for an entrance. It has the cue of, as soon as you hear those cowbells from an audience perspective, you know exactly what's happening. Someone's about to come out. It gives you a subconscious cue to start clapping, which we will show up to a random place. They don't know who's coming out of the curtain, but they hear cowbells, so their brain has to clap then.
Yeah.
So we're already one leg up, so we don't have to go out and beg for reaction. It's already happening. So we, it was just one of those songs that, and also no one uses it, and which is mind-boggling to me. But it's one of those things where I visualize videos through listening to music before. Yeah. So that was the first song before our first video, and that's just what we came up with. And then I told him, I was like, I think we should use this, and he was like, no way, I heard this on I think he was playing, and you can correct me, Bosch. It was like an off-brand Guitar Hero on his PC, and it came up. So,
well, yeah. It wasn't just an off-brand Guitar Hero, right? It's in the original game. It was my song growing up. Like, my dad had Guitar Hero, and I used to play with him. And like, I don't know, just Freebird and Mississippi Queen were the two that I liked, so I just kept bumping those ones. And I was like, well, it's just got a good vibe. And like, at the end of the day, our team is just, we try to just be just fun guys. Like, there's no like we're the plumber team, or we're like the electrician team, or we're the clown team. You know what I mean? We're just guys.
And it's also one of those things, like, if I hear cowbells, like we went to Nebraska a few weekends ago, and after the show we went to Whataburger because we don't have that in St. Louis. So we went to Whataburger, and all of a sudden we hear cowbells. It wasn't even Mississippi Queen, but we literally just like it was like a PTSD reaction. Like, we just we jumped and like stared at each other, and it's like, oh crap, the curtain. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's and it wasn't even the song. It was just cowbells. But because as soon as we hear cowbells, it's like, oh snap, like we got to run. But it's just Mississippi Queen is now affiliated with the new guys. Like,
it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So like, and I'm not just saying that because like I believe it. Yeah, I'm saying that because other people have told us that. You know what I mean? So like, and we get, I won't say names just to keep it, but like we receive videos from other wrestlers doing karaoke spelting Mississippi Queen, and they they send it to us.
My favorite.
So,
yeah. Bosch just went and got some tights. What's that?
Yeah, so if you look on the tights, this is just a fun Easter egg. No one's ever noticed it. I always point it out, but this is actually a speaker head underneath the CH, and you can see it more on Scott's gear, but these ripples in this design is straight out of the Mississippi Queen music video. If you go watch it, it's like completely riffed from it. And that's also partially why we did the black, red, and yellow, because that was the original colors of that music video.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that. But,
I'm telling you, man, you guys like melt hearts of like I said, like, I'm not scared to say it, dudes of my age, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because we were, I mean, I was born in the 70s. I wasn't born in the 60s. You know what I mean? But like, like my dad, my grandparents, all rocked Mississippi Queen. Like, you know what I mean? I remember seeing Mountain, like, on the tapes of Woodstock from '69, that kind of stuff. It's wild, man. So, which brings me to another point, Scott, because like, you talked about like listening to music. I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan. You guys just did a video, with them. As soon as I heard the first couple notes, I was like, I knew I was watching this and all the way to the end, right? But as good as tag team as you guys are, as good as merch as you have, as much as everybody loves you and putting tag titles on you, your videos and vignettes and stuff that you're doing is top notch, man. Like it's like you're on another level, man. Like, it's humor, it's to the point, it's usually about a match that you're having, which is great. You know, it's not, you know, hey brother, I'm gonna kick your ass, you know, it's Saturday night, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you guys are hitting interest like on a whole nother level, man. Like, you know, and you know, you kind of explained it about the, you know, the music and stuff, but you know, after you get that music in your head, you know, like, you know, you guys just kind of put the brainwaves together and, you know, figure out, hey man, you know what I mean? Because you guys are coming off with some awesome content, man. Like it's so good. It's so good.
I will say, yeah, thank you first off, because
Yeah.
that means a lot. We put a lot of work into our videos, like
Yeah.
truly. And I hope it shows.
Absolutely it
so,
is. Yeah.
like, I'm a big skit guy, and I don't do improv, but I'm a big improv guy. I love watching it. So, like, whenever we get to do that ourselves, it's very just interesting to dive in and analyze and like figure out why skits work. Our biggest skit crew right now that we watch is Almost Friday, and if they're very young and have a weird sense of humor,
Sure.
but like if you watch our videos, so do we. But like we try our best to like still not, you know, scare away the older audience, because we know if it gets too weird, they're gonna be like, this is not for me.
Right.
So like we have to find that balance of like, I'm gonna throw Fleetwood Mac on this video to keep the older audience.
Yep.
But I'm gonna talk about drinking piss. You know what I mean? So
or
like,
you might be sitting on a toilet, right?
Exactly.
Or you know what I mean?
Right?
You know, and Jake's bargaining in on you. You know what I mean? Or
and
you know, something like that.
Moments like that, it's like, you know, not to get too crass, but the way I think of that video is like I'm legit, you know, taking a deuce, and I'm thinking, man, Bosch would be the type of guy who just like interrupts my poop. You know what I mean? And so like, I was like, why don't we just make a video of that and then just somehow tie the match into it? Like, it's the stuff like that. It doesn't sound like a lot or anything, but we think about it very heavily. Like we don't want to just throw out, set, you know, iPhone on tripod, stare down barrel and say how much the other guy sucks and how much we're gonna, you know, kill them. It's like you're not gonna kill anyone. That's a felony. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just trying to win a match. You're just trying to win a title. You're not trying to kill anyone. You know what I mean? So like,
and you guys are doing this on the indies too, which is like, you know what I mean, like way into another stratosphere, you know what I mean? Because I mean, technology is awesome, you know what I mean? These you know, and so, but
it's free.
You know,
it's free.
Yeah,
it's free advertisement.
Hey,
like,
right. But I want to say this before I let you keep talking about it. You know, there's one little word that, you know, oftentimes, you know, I don't usually bitch about it, you know, oftentimes slips through, you know, the cracks of fingers of wrestlers, and it's effort, man. It's just effort. Like, get it out there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and look what you're doing with it. It's making a world of difference. But yeah, no, man, like y'all are killing it. You know, the close-ups, you know what I mean? Like those are great. Like, you know, I often wonder, you know, if you, you know, if you want to say kayfabe is fine, but I often wonder, I'm like, are you guys doing the camera work? Like, who's doing the camera work? Like, this shit is good. Like, you know what I mean? It's very entertaining.
So
it's two of us in this good part. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Scott.
My bad. I'm sorry. Good. I get really into the.
No, this is
Scott's talking, man. Let's let him go. Let him go. Let him cook. Let him cook.
But yeah, since day one, because like I didn't go to college for it or anything, but I spent a lot of time just studying why directors do things, why cinematographers do things, and it always came down to the camera is another character. And I feel like no one in professional wrestling treats it that way, especially on the indies. And it's like, if you add the camera to your skit in a way that it becomes its own character, it's almost like inviting the audience to be a part of the video. So like, you guys are a part of our video because of the camera work that we're doing. Like, we can tell as many stupid little haha jokes as we want. We can say as many like, you know, we're going to come and murder yous as we want. But like, if the camera's just sitting on a tripod, it's essentially like halting the audience to say, sit there and watch me. And whereas like what we're trying to do is like, come be a part of what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's well said, man. Like well said for sure.
Have you ever had a promoter like request a certain video? Be like, hey, you're working so and so. Could you do something like this? And like second part of that question, have you ever had a promoter be like, I can't promote my show with that video. You all gotta like do something different, when it comes to drinking piss or whatever. Yeah.
Surprisingly, nobody has said that's not good enough or like that's not what we're looking for.
Sure.
But we've definitely gotten some like, because honestly, it comes back to like what you said, DB, like the effort. Like it's way too common and way too acceptable for wrestlers to just like throw phone on the tripod and talk. And like no cuts, no editing, no music. And so like I think a lot of promoters have not one of the shows that we're like usually doing now, but especially when we first started and just anywhere and everywhere, they'd just be like, well, just like throw something together and just challenge them. And it's like, but why would I? That's the next guy can do that,
Sure.
And so we would try to come up with an idea on like, okay, well, obviously there needs to be something about a challenge. So we're instigating this. How can we build an entire scenario that just kind of alludes to the whole instigating thing and always wraps back into the match?
Sure.
And it's really just like deviating from the path as far as possible while not losing the plot. I think that's like the goal we have with a lot of the stuff.
And that's 100% correct. I'll give the less diplomatic answer, and sometimes we get requests and we still just do our own thing. So we are 100% confident in what we are doing, and we believe in it. Like, and I think that's why it resonates. And we don't want videos that come across as corporate made or anything like that. Like, we want it to feel like it is truly like ours. And I say ours is like not just mine and Bosch's, but the audience and ours. You know what I mean? Like, we can all appreciate it together.
Yeah. No, and what you guys are doing is totally working. You know what I mean? And at this point, I don't see why a promoter wouldn't be like, yes, give me some of that, give me that rub. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's fantastic. It's awesome, man. Yeah, I just wanted to say that's such a different aspect of you guys is full circle that you guys are just nailing, man, like literally nailing. And like I said, and the fact y'all are doing it on the indies is a lot of people should be keeping up with you guys. Way I really want to say about it, but I mean, you guys are having a great like a pretty unprecedented run as a tag, right now. Your popularity soared. You guys are getting booked at a lot more places. You guys put out another post today about wanting to go to other places that you haven't been to, or what promotion do they want to see you at. You guys just went to Canada. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty wild. I'm assuming you guys flew there, right?
No, sir.
No, you drove. Okay.
We've never flown anywhere.
The second we were done with Anarchy, we got in the car and headed to Hamilton.
Wow. Hamilton. Yeah. That was crazy, man. So, was that first time wrestling in Canada?
Second.
Okay.
Third for me, but yeah, second.
Okay. Awesome. How do they like the new guys in Canada?
I would say, it took the match because we were wrestling Puff and Pretty Ricky, and they're they love him there. So
yeah, they do.
But hey, we drank some Diet Pepsi afterwards, so
it was just so much fun.
There you go.
A little carbonation afterwards. Yeah, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, it was one of those shows. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it. Hit it. Yeah.
It was one of those shows where there was so many kids, and we realized there was so many kids, and we realized that this is not necessarily a like. They're not going to know who we are. They're not going to know who anybody besides the TV wrestlers are. So let's just go out there and have a ton of fun. Yeah. And we spent 5 minutes fighting around this convention center with Killing in the Name of on the speakers and hitting each other with props and all sorts
with kids stuff. There in that song.
The kids were just like eating it up. They're chasing us around. Like, it was just so cool.
Raging the rage, huh?
Yeah, it's top three match for me. I had so much fun.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the wild environments are kind of like what you think about the most, right?
100%.
Yeah. All right, man. So, we asked a lot of people, what's the one thing, we got to talk about with the new guys. And and it's all been, a certain match that you guys had not long ago. So let's get to it, man. A lot of, let me tell you, like a lot of the tag teams on the indies, usually end up just wrestling each other. They might get to wrestle some, some older guys, but you guys got to actually wrestle a contracted tag team. Two fellas that are very, very familiar. Fourth Rope Wrestling put this together for you, the guys that made it happen, right?
Yes, sir.
You guys got to wrestle the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff. I want you to talk about the experience. Tell me what you learned from them. I want to know what they said after the match. Keep something you don't have, but like, I would just like to know the feedback and when the bell rung and you're standing across from the Hardys, like, it had to be a pretty awesome moment. Like, wow, we're here, right?
I'll let Bosch start and then I'll tell mine.
Yeah, I think for me, it was just like, it was so surreal. And the entire experience is like, you just have to show up and like, it's tough because everybody's a fan. And those guys know that too. Like, they're not showing up expecting you to not be, like, I'm 20 years old. They're obviously going to know that I'm a fan of them.
Sure.
But it's just being able to kind of like, it's a tough thing to like remember, but you're now a coworker with these people. And so you got to work for this thing together. And this crowd was South by Southwest in Austin, so it's not necessarily an indie wrestling crowd. They were into West Side Guns music. They're into music. They know the Hardys.
Right.
They don't know us. So you got to find a nice balance of like, yeah, I would love to go out there and hit Jeff Hardy with all of my moves and have so much fun. But at the end of the day, they don't want to see that. They want to see that the Hardys look awesome.
Right.
And we put the match together in a way where like, me and Scott got goofed a little bit, but we almost had it at some points. And like, I don't mean to pull the curtain back too much, but like, it's just, I think the biggest lesson for me, and it was more of a reassurance because this is kind of how I felt since we started, is you can't work for yourself. You have to work for the product in the match. And no matter, and I've done that since we started. I've done that night. I've done that, still to this day.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody is not looking at us differently. Like, I don't think I have to work for myself to prove that we are a good tag team. Like, we've worked for the match every single time. We never force our stuff into we never force anything. Yeah. And it's like, that would be the time where somebody could do that. They could pitch something stupid and then the match wouldn't be good. But we knew our role and we played that role. And yeah, it was just surreal. And in terms of advice, I spent 30 minutes asking them questions. So I had a whole notes app. I was like, you get one chance. You get one shot at this. So if I'd ever get to talk to these guys again about this stuff, I want to ask everything I can. And, I think it was just nice to, see the excellence of tag wrestling and have a conversation with them. And honestly, I'd say 95% of the things that we brought to the table, they agreed with or said we were in the right headspace for. And, when you can get that kind of stamp of approval from somebody, I think we've had a different level of confidence since that match. And I think it's helping us really find our own and like making sure that these things aren't as stressful. And every match since, I feel like we've been far more comfortable in there.
Yeah. Sounds like you growed after it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. Awesome.
100%.
Awesome. That's what it's all about, man. What'd you think, Scott?
Yeah, so it was the whole experience down there was pretty crazy, just even leading up to the match. But that's a story for like if I write a book or something. But
save the inside shit.
Yeah, but just getting there and it was nerve-wracking just the whole day. And I want to give a shout out to someone who you wouldn't think, but Zilla Fatu literally stopped me from crapping myself all day long. Like, this guy is the most down-to-earth human.
Oh my God.
You will
That's
ever
the first time
meet.
you met him? Was that the first time you met him?
No, this wasn't the first time we met him, but this was the first time it felt like this guy is our coworker, and he cares that we're going to go out there and have a good match with the Hardys.
I wouldn't even say coworker. I'd say he was the friend that day.
Like a friend.
It was very I was very like not expecting the kind of relationship that we were having in the talking with him, but just great guy.
That's great.
A lot of people forget that Zilla is like 21 years old. Like this guy's a kid. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
25. I'm still a young guy. Like I'm not old. So for this guy to be 21 and pretty much on top of the world on the indies and have all this pressure, and let's be honest, he gets a lot of crap online for,
Yeah.
being 21 years old. Like that's hard to do. And his entire family is on top of the industry. That's brutal. So for him to come up to guys like us and notice that we are stressing and sit us down and just not talk about the match, not remind us that it's our biggest match of our life, but just sit down and ask us questions about our life. Not wrestling life, but our life.
Right.
Like that's a leader in the locker room that you absolutely want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the match itself, like, just I have never done this. Besides, even to this day, like I have never done this for a match. I usually get in the ring and I get in the zone. I don't listen to the music. I don't watch the other person's entrance. I don't care about any of that, because like at that point, I'm Scott and I don't care about you. I care about winning the match. This was different. I told myself I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna open my ears. I'm gonna open my eyes, and I'm literally gonna do a 360 whenever this music hits. And I'm so happy I did that, because it wasn't like a giant venue or anything like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
I remember seeing it was like a makeshift. You had like some
Yeah.
tarps over you or something, kind of, or something like that.
Exactly. It was basically in like a little tent. Like it's called the Emporium. Other wrestling promotions have it there. Other indies have it there. But like there were a lot of people, but it wasn't like thousands or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I kid you not, even whenever I was a fan, whenever I went to WWE or AEW shows where I had thousands upon thousands of fans, this was the loudest crowd. This was the loudest reaction I had ever heard in my life. Like, it was so mind-boggling, and it was fueling in a way where all my nerves, for a lot of people, I feel like it would make their nerves go up and intensify. At that point, I heard that reaction, and I just thought, yeah, there's no way we're bad. There's no way we're bad with this. Like, we can't be. We aren't allowed to be. You know what I mean? So, and then getting to the back, I won't say everything they said to us, but I will say this. Jeff Hardy liked the video that we made.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And let me tell you,
that's it.
There's going to be people that was at that South by Southwest show, or you end up seeing that video, who probably a casual, or just, they're going to see you guys down the road again. They'll be like, oh yeah, I remember those guys. They wrestled the Hardy. You know what I mean? Like, that's that kind of stuff too is going to help you guys out, like in the long run. But man, how sweet is that, man? Like, pretty awesome, man. I mean, Jake, you're 20. You just wrestled Jeff and Matt. Get out of here, dude. Like, what? You know what I mean? That's wild.
They've been wrestling longer than we've been alive. Crazy.
So I'm originally from North Carolina, and they're from Cameron, which is about 2.5 hours, say, like, west, southwest, from where I grew up, and and they're legends, I mean, in the area, and not just on top of, wrestling, like they're like North Carolina legends, you know what I mean? So, I mean, just super cool, man. That was, thank you for the insight. Thank you for telling us about that, man. Like, super cool, man. But there's another thing that happened once, man, I want to talk to you guys about. So you guys are a part of a 6-man tag called the Hager's Hitters. I've heard, it's you guys and Shaza McKenzie, managed, by Mr. Green Hat Dylan here. So I want to talk about you guys, man, because obviously, Dylan's absolutely, without a doubt, you guys' biggest fan. Other people might say they are. It's Dylan, I'll say it for him, but, let's talk about, like, Dylan, let's talk about, like, when you seen the new guys, started getting on board with these guys, and, when did the fandom begin with you? And then, I just kind of want to talk about, now you guys have probably seen Dylan at a couple hundred shows or more. You know
All
what I
the
mean?
time.
Yeah, like all the time. But so let's talk about that, Dylan.
Yeah, so this is 100% honest. I'm not blowing smoke because you guys are on the pod. This legitimately happened. It kind of goes back to the music you were talking about, Scotty. First time would have been a WrestleMax show. I believe y'all were pre-show at the time still, just starting out. Mississippi Queen hits, and it's like, okay, I don't recognize this music. And you go to so many of the shows, you recognize the kind of the pre-show guys' music. I was like, oh, this is new. Who's this? And you guys come out, and just like the intensity and the energy you guys had, and it automatically was right off the bat like, okay, I like these guys. Like, I haven't even seen them wrestle yet, but like, we got something here. And then it just kept building from there because you guys, it wasn't just WrestleMax. You guys did the whole St. Louis area, popping up pre-shows and then main cards. And very quickly, I was just like, okay, yeah, these guys are good. They got something. There's, a small handful of people that's like that first time. It's like, oh, they're good. I like them. I haven't seen a whole bunch of them yet, but they got something there. So yeah, it did not take long at all. And it's just been awesome to watch you guys grow since you go from, just the pre-show matches to main event title matches and working all over the place and working the Hardys. And you guys have no idea how close I was to driving to Austin or wherever that was at. It was like, I got to see that. But
right.
Yeah, it's just been really cool. You want to talk about the Hager's Hitters real quick? The trio?
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I want to ask, did you guys just okay? So I seen the picture on social media. It was you guys and Shaza, and then it was like hashtag Hager's Hitters or something like that. Did you guys come up with that name?
Sure.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So
Real fast, I
this.
do want to say one thing if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Dylan, you may be one of our fans, but I want to say this, and this goes out to a few other fans as well, but specifically like you, King Nate, you guys, we're your biggest fans because when we look out in the crowd at every show, you guys are the captains of that crowd, and like it genuinely keeps the wrestling world go round. Like, you guys tweet, you guys show up, you guys buy merch, you guys get pictures, you guys do all of that, and we have nothing if y'all don't do that. Before you even knew who we were, we knew who you were because we knew the STL hat.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, it is as much as like you were happy we made the green hat. We were like, I really hope that he wears that hat because like people know who you are. Yeah. And like you're at all these shows, and like I know at a Dreamwave show, Shazda was making her entrance, and she put that hat on, and now the new guy was in a Dreamwave like film before we were even there.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that. Like, we appreciate you for that, seriously, and the King Nate as well, because I saw him in the chat. I'm shouting him out too. Like, you guys we need you guys, and you guys are awesome. So thank you very much. But continue, DB. Sorry.
That's all right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering how that, kind of all got spun. Hager's Hitters is what an awesome 6-man name for, So yeah, I mean, Dylan, big supporter of the St. Louis scene. I have a small funny story. So you guys know I'm backstage at Dreamwave. So when you guys were coming in, I knew Dylan was going to lose his shit when y'all came in and attacked. It was the hype, I think y'all came in through the fire exit. You guys came in like the side door, like nobody's even knowing you come that way, right? And I just remember that thinking, this is about to be Dylan's night, man. I was just thinking like this is going to be awesome. And then I didn't know anything. I just knew you guys were coming in that night. Obviously, we're going to have a little program there, but I'm like, man, if we get those guys here, like on the regular, and then, found out you guys were going to be there regular, and then you guys made sure you were going to be there regular, won the titles, I was thinking, man, I was like, are we catering to Dylan here? And then fast forward, Maggie's the champ. Coco's the alternative title. You guys are the tag champs. Basically, the only title not represented in St. Louis is the Dreamwave title now. As the what I mean. So you guys are kind of running shop in Dreamwave. What I mean. So, but just always fun. Like, because when I seen you guys, we're going to be on the card, and knew Dylan was going to be like super excited because Shaza was already been, wrestling there for a while. And it was like, I knew like with Dylan, like you guys come there, Dylan was going to have all his peeps, under one roof in LaSalle. So I knew that was going to be cool.
Yeah, so just to back up real quick, I had no idea that Hager's Hitters was a thing. I had zero clue. It was a complete surprise.
That makes it even better, yeah.
And that's how we wanted it.
Yeah. When the match was announced, I joked that it's basically just Team Dylan over here, you guys and Shauza, but didn't think anything else of it. And it wasn't until Kat did the ring announcing and actually introduced you guys as Hager's Hitters. And I was like, wait, what? Did she just actually say that? Like, oh, that rolls. And then use that as kind of a segue because we already had the Dylan before Hager's Hitters was a thing. But I want to talk about your guys' merch, like kind of in general, because the very first T-shirt, I believe it was the very first T-shirt you put out. That was just like the hand-drawn Sharpie looking one, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, what's the story? Is that like the new guys just gonna like draw their own merch kind of thing, or how'd you come up with that idea?
I don't know. I just came up with like one day I was just like, I think I could just go buy a 20-pack of Hanes t-shirts and we could honestly.
Are you talking about this one?
It might sound kind of scummy.
Is it this one?
That's the drawing.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was after we were hand drawing. Like it's not a joke. Like we bought packs of Hanes and took a Sharpie before the shows and spent an hour and a half on each individual one, drawing the new guys and the faces.
Yep. And I'm
pretty sure I have a sticker of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got it printed eventually, but it was the Hanes t-shirts before. And I spent a lot of time figuring out exactly how I wanted to draw it. And the two faces, I drew those, and they went through a few different versions. And it's funny because the one has the sunglasses. I don't even wear sunglasses anymore. But it's gonna sound scummy, but we were like, nobody knows who we are. But if we can just get people to buy a $10 Hanes t-shirt and wear it at the show, maybe we'll start making some buzz. The whole goal was undercut everybody and sell something with our face on it. And
here's the other big thing that we would do, and we still do to this day if we're new at a company and don't like feel comfortable like sitting up at the merch table, we would get a steel chair and set up all of our stuff way off to the side. Usually where people would walk to get drinks and stuff. That way they would see what the heck are these bozos doing. But hey, but then they would talk to us and then realize, oh snap, they're actually kind of like Scott's, not talking, and this goofball Jake is like talking to me and my kids and having a good time. So
that worked.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it all came from the 70% of our dues paid thing that we always put in our intro. And I don't know if anyone's really picked up on it yet, but once we did the Hardys match, because I forgot I was going to mention this, we did change it to 100% of our dues paid.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, I feel like this is like, there's no other like way to go up, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
check. Right.
But yeah, that's the chair was the fun idea because we were just trying to find any way to like continue this kind of like not aura in the sense of like we have this aura, like not like that, but just this feeling of these two guys just threw this together and figured it out. Kind of that was the vibe that we wanted to bring.
Guys got a hell of a marketing team.
Yeah, I remember that standing out. The Tanaka Gary Anarchy show. I vividly remember you guys being to the side with your own little setup, which is very smart because everybody else is fighting different lines trying to get to whoever they're trying to see. And you guys are over here where it's easy to get to with this hand-drawn shirt. And it's like, man, like the new guys are like actually new guys. Like it's cool to see like them putting in that effort. And it's cool to see, now how far you've come with all the different merch designs, different t-shirts, the hoodies, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Before we move on, before we talk about Road Warrior Cup and Dreamwave, Dylan, you got a dark show match you want to ask Jake about.
Yes. I believe there's a good story here.
Yes.
Bosch, this had to be one of your very first matches.
Mm-hmm.
The WrestleMax dark match.
Yep.
Just to set the stage real quick, at least from my point of view.
Yep.
The storm blowing through St. Louis. It's WrestleMax's first show back after a hiatus. In between the time doors open and the pre-show starts, venue loses power. We all sit there. I don't know. It felt like 20 minutes. May not have been 20 minutes trying to debate. Okay, what's going to happen here? And people are joking like, "Oh, let's just use our phones or do whatever." Well, then they actually do the dark match, and I didn't realize at the time, but Jake Bosch was one of those participants. What's going through your mind? How's that backstage vibe? Like anything you want to share about that?
Dylan,
share the whole
This
story.
is why you're the GOAT, man. This is why
Yeah, Dylan, you're about to
Some
get
underground shit
everything
right
out
here,
of
ain't
this.
it? Yeah.
This is one of my favorite stories to tell because this day was the biggest accidental, like, that if that match didn't happen, we wouldn't be the new guys. And I'll tell you why, because it's big. It was really important to me. So that was my first match on any show. I had only had one practice match before that, and it was at a Gabe
Wow.
Sapolsky seminar, and that was it. And there was I was freaking out in the back because obviously you don't want to mess up your first match. And I was kind of just stretching, doing my thing, and then boom, power's out. And it gets worse. I'm like, oh my God. And I don't think anyone really knew how to or they knew how, obviously, if they would have noticed, but I don't think anyone noticed I was freaking out. So nobody came over to kind of pick me out of it. I was just I was just stressing out so much. But regardless, Ben Simon goes out with no microphone,
Yeah.
and Ben's a soft-spoken guy, so he announces my opponent, Mason St. Goods, and everyone knows Mason, so it was kind of an easy one there. But nobody heard my name. And on top of that, it's 2 syllables, Jake Bosch. So nobody picked up on that. Nobody knew who I was. I was just guy in blues jersey yelling a bunch. And so I don't know who started this chant. I would love to find it out. But somebody starts chanting "new guys," or sorry, the new guy, new guy.
Yeah.
We love the new guy.
Right.
And I was like, there's something there. And so I was gonna be the new guy. That was gonna be my thing. But then obviously the tag team started. I was like, well, we're the new guys. So if there was no Power Out WrestleMax pre-show match against Mason St. Goods where Ben Simon's voice couldn't be heard, never would have even thought about the new guys.
Yeah. I like y'all's name
that's
too.
insane.
It's kind of like the Young Bucks to me. They'll get old, but they'll still be the Young Bucks forever. You guys will get old eventually, and you'll always be the new guys. It's great. It's what are they?
Here's what I always say to people is they ask, well, when are you going to be the old guys? We're always going to be new to someone. There's 7 billion people on this planet. They're not all going to know who we are. You know what I mean? So we're always going to be new to somebody.
Who said never miss a new guys match? Where did that come from? Who said it first?
That's the profile. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, awesome. I mean,
profile.
it's working because it's like your guys' statement or moniker. You aren't like mean Jake Bosch or you know what I mean. It's Mad Scott Stanley or none of that stuff. You know what I mean. It's Jake Bosch, Scott Stanley, new guys, never miss a new guys match. Plain and simple to the point, and I love it. Another kind of legendary thing kind of happened to you guys lately, man. Before we get to your match against the Premier at Dreamwave this weekend. So you recently was in the Road Warrior Cup in St. Louis, Glory Pro. You ended up in the finals with the Premier and ended up winning the Road Warrior Cup, man. How cool is that, man? First of all, Road Warriors, obviously, the legendary tag team, named after only usually top tag teams win those, kinds of tournaments and trophies. You guys are in the mix now, and, it had to feel pretty special to take that one home, right? In your hometown, too.
For sure. I think it was just such a journey, too, because, we started at Glory. Our first match was supposed to be a pre-show match, but due to people not being able to make it because of weather, it ended up being on the show. And it was us versus the O'Neill brothers, who we're not too fond of, don't like those guys one bit. But, it was a big moment. We beat them, and then we got to stick around. And so now it's you got the opportunity. Now you're in the dance. How do you prove yourself? And this was 4 months prior to last year's Road Warrior Cup. And we got beat by PME. And I think that was it was a check of you just don't got the experience right now. And so over the next few months, we tried to get as much experience. We rode around the country. We set up every ring. We got it. We would wrestle anywhere, everywhere to just get a little bit better. And then in November, we finally beat PME and we won the Glory Tag Team Championships. And so from then, it's like we've hit that point, but it's like I still feel like we got to prove more because, I mean, we won one. We lost 4 matches against them in a row. So, like, or 3, sorry. But the 4th match, we finally win. And it's like, you know, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe it was. So you got to prove yourself from that point on. And so then we wrestled the VIF. We beat them. And then we get to the Road Warrior Cup. We wrestled the Revolution, another new tag team. That was pretty fun because it was nice to kind of like almost look at like, wow, a year later, and it's like the roles slightly flipped. Like, that's pretty cool. But then, Road Warrior Cup this year, and PME comes back for the Road Warrior Cup, and it's like finally we get to prove that, we learned a little bit. And we snuck a win on them, and I don't know, they weren't too happy about that. But coming to the championship, it's against the Premier. We've had so many matches against the Premier. We hate the Premier.
Sure.
And this is honestly in our own town with our belts on the line for our cup. That should, we had to prove it to the Premier, and we did. And so and then PME comes out and decides to join with Warhorse and turn on us. So that wasn't too cool. But in terms of that cup, it sucks that we don't have it because they did steal it from us, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to get that back. But just the fact that we won it, and we know we won it, you know, that is so special to me. It's very special to me.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So let's talk about this weekend, guys. You know, we just talked about you just beat the Premier in St. Louis. You know, now let's call it what it is to me. Now the Premier's got to come to what I'm gonna say is your turf. Now they got to come to your turf. You know, your Ring LaSalle. You know what I mean? You've been there plenty of times. You know, they're back now. So let's all set it up for you. By the way, I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook right now. Dylan and I are sitting down with the current Dreamwave Tag Team Champions, the new guys. They are getting ready for this Saturday. Born for this, sold out, live on IWTV. This time, the rematch between the Premier and the new guys is for the Dreamwave Tag Team Championships. It's funny how things work out sometimes. I don't believe Soup and Bishop have been to LaSalle for Dreamwave before, but they're probably coming in here thinking they probably know what they need to do because they probably look at the record and say, we've had these guys' numbers, most of the time, but this time it's different, because you guys are the champs. It's your territory. They got to come try to take these things off from you. So, what makes probably what you got to do, I guess, Saturday is probably maybe more of the same of what happened at the Road Warrior Cup. But talk about this match, because like I said, you guys are very familiar, but the stakes are different this time. You guys have, I think this is your 3rd defense of the title. Am I right here for Dreamwave? 3rd or 4th, I believe, for sure. But Scott, man, you hate everybody. So tell me why you hate the Premier.
Why I hate them? It would be easier to tell you why I don't.
Sure.
There's no reason. I hate them for every reason. Look at that promo picture. Look at that. You're telling me you're supposed to like them? I hate them. Every time I look at them, put your mouthpiece in your mouth, you tool. These guys suck. They are the worst to be around. They think they're funny, but they're not. They're just ripping Tim Robinson. Don't you worry. I know. SK can't even talk. This guy, man. Hold on. Bosche, my mic just died. Don't worry, I'll get
tell
him
you
back.
why I don't like the Premier since his mic died. I don't like the Premier because since we started, all they did was, just look down on us. They look down on us all the time. And that's kind of what I kind of got tired of that over time.
Sure.
I got real tired of that. And that's why when we came to Dreamwave, I had to think back to some of the hockey days. Because when you're on the road and you stumble into that, you're the away team in the barn, they don't like you too much. And sometimes you got to embrace that. And so I think we found a new home in Dreamwave. And I think they still treat us like that away team. But that's just fuel to me now. And it reminds me that I just gotta let that burn. I got to let that fuel me. And so Yeah, the premiere, it's the same way. I got that with me, and I've got the fact that they always look down at us. It was little bro since the beginning, and I think it's time to prove to them that times are changing.
Do you want to know how much I hate the premiere? I hate
Always.
the premiere so much that I put a headphone in my bad ear just to make a point that I hate them. I hate them with everything that I have in my body. And whenever they walk in and try to take these titles, because best believe their arrogant, blown up heads are going to think they can walk into LaSalle and take these titles from us, they got another thing coming. And I think we all know that, and I think we're all going to see it come Saturday.
Yep, and they've they're getting this title shot probably, because they're, one of the top tag teams in the area, maybe because they are, familiar, with you guys, but, Saturday night live on IWTV, don't miss it. The new guys versus the premiere for the Dreamwave Tag Team Championships. Let's also skip ahead just a little bit too, boys. You guys are set to you coming back to Dreamwave after you've retained the titles, obviously, coming back in the summer, July the 12th. We don't know who your opponents here might be. I mean, the way you guys have been rolling lately, it's probably going to be like Demolition or FTR or, some sort of, classic, tag team like that. But, you definitely will be back in July. Do you guys have any, is there any dream matches left for you on the indies right now?
You know what's a dream match?
What's
a dream match for me? Anyone who steps through those ropes and wants to face the new guys. Because at the end of the day, we are the new wave. We are the new energy. We are the new life of tag team wrestling. So anyone who wants to try and stop that, they're going to have to go through us.
There you go. Words right out of Scott Stanley's mouth. Make sure you guys tune in Saturday. Dreamwave presents Born for This live on IWTV. It's been sold out. When the new guys are on top, that's what happens. They sell our shows. So new guys on the poster, money, money, money. That's right. All right, boys. I'm gonna get you out of here on this, man. I got you a couple quick questions on the way out, man. Just so we can get to know the new guys just a little bit better. Anybody can answer these. So when you guys are driving, man, who drives mostly?
That's me.
What?
That's me. And I'll tell you how much I drive.
Okay.
I'll tell you how much I drive. This man gets a full 8 hours sleep every time, man.
Oh, he does.
Man,
Hold on.
No.
What do you want me to do? There's nothing to do.
I Iron Man it, man. But here's the thing. I give him crap. But
Sure.
I enjoy it because, I hate riding in the backseat. That's the worst thing for me because it just makes time move so slow.
Sure.
Whereas, I'm driving, I got full control, baby. It's all me. I drove all the way down to the Hardy's match, 14 hours. I drove all the way back, 14 hours, 28 hours in 2 days. I don't care.
Nice.
That's I rock and roll behind that steering wheel.
Who chooses the food on the road?
We both have a love for Panda Express. So there is no,
okay.
$12 for a whole bowl. It's like, that's the only meal I need, and it costs $12. So
Right.
It's that easy.
Where's your favorite spot to eat in St. Louis?
Oh, favorite spot to eat in St. Louis. It's actually called 1356 Public House. No one knows about it. It's off Big Bend. If anyone lives in St. Louis and knows that street, but they got these seasoned fries that are just so.
All right.
I'm a super picky eater, so I don't got a favorite place. It's just wherever gives me nutrients.
There you go. So do you guys, you guys watch the big time, watch WWE, TNA, AEW, you guys keep up with all that much as you can? Yeah.
I keep up with clips. I don't really watch the shows anymore though.
Yeah. What's your guys' favorite move to perform together?
Crossbody Enzy or B17.
Crossbody Enzy.
Oh, nice.
Either crossbody Enzy or I really like our dropkick German because especially if that ceiling is not low. Because I feel like there's probably a good amount of fans who have never seen how high I can jump on that thing. But I can get real high up there. And I'm not trying to take my own horn, but
sure.
Give me a room with no roof.
Yeah.
That summer Dreamwave show, I'm pretty sure that's outdoors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait for the clip.
Yep. No ceiling, man. No ceiling. Are you guys gamers?
A little bit.
Okay.
No.
Music, we hear it on the genre, but if what are we throwing on the iPod, riding down the road? What's the jam right now?
Oh man. Literally anything.
Yeah.
I review music
Yeah.
in my off time. So
Okay.
and sometimes I'll throw it on the timeline on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I will literally listen to anything. I listen to maybe what is I'm considering the worst album of the year, which is Lil Wayne's Carter 6, which is so depressing to me. But I'll listen to that. I'll listen to old school rock. I've been getting into country lately. I'll listen to Brat by Charlie XCX, which I think is one of the best records last year. Like there's just music is endless and you can discover just so much through it. So like to put one genre on my name.
Right.
There goes. I think there goes his mic. But
Yeah, I think you might fail
yeah.
again.
But for me, it's EDM. I love house music.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a big house guy. I love some Jersey club. It can get a little old because like it's the same kind of like beat, but like it's all these fun songs that
Yeah.
and turn into like the Jersey club sound.
Right.
And then this is just a complete 180. But there's a new album that just dropped by John Belly, and it's called Father Figure. I've been bumping that recently. It's very good.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a pretty solid album.
Who's like an up and coming tag team that you guys are kind of keeping your eyes on, or maybe that we should know about?
The Revolution, Anthony
Okay.
Lopez and Quest Parker, without a doubt. These guys want to learn more than anybody. They are on the road constantly. They are constantly working. They're constantly asking questions. They just want to wrestle. Like they are the next up and coming tag team in the Midwest.
I know we talked about the Edgewood Superdome, but you got like favorite venues that you wrestled in? Be like, oh man, this is sweet.
Casa Loma Ballroom in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Glory runs there every once in a while, and it's just fantastic. It's such a cool venue. The acoustics in there just like it just gets louder. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the other one for me would be Logan Square. I think Logan Square,
Okay.
the freelance spot. It's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say Logan Square. Yeah, probably Logan Square.
Okay. All right, boys, I'm gonna get you out of here on this, man. Let's talk end goals, man. What do we want to be? Where do we want to do? Where do we want to take this thing?
For me, I just want to I would love to make this a full-time job. That is really the goal for me. It don't matter where, it don't matter how. I just want, like, wrestling has become the biggest fascination in my life, and like I came into it knowing literally nothing, and I feel like now I'm so neck deep in the woods. Like I'm just like I just want this to be the only thing I have to care about.
Sure.
I just love it.
For me, it's I just want to be the best tag team on the Indies because like I truly love the Indies with all its faults and all its greatness. Like I love everything about the Indies, and I just want it to succeed, and I want to be the ones on top while it's succeeding.
That's awesome. Well said, boys. Thank you for your time today. I know you guys don't do a lot of podcasts. Thank you guys for being on ours, man. Before we go here, man, I got a little quick picture of when you guys won the Dreamwave tag team titles. I think this was maybe from a fan cam. It's kind of a little cool thing. But it's such a pleasure having you guys at Dreamwave, man. I really enjoy having you guys in the locker room, and you guys have you quickly ascended just like you have everywhere else, man. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your entertainment, man. I don't have to tell you guys to keep doing what you're doing because you guys are crushing it. I know you're going to. Want to thank you guys for being on the podcast today, and thank everybody for watching on YouTube and Facebook, and everybody listening on all those podcast platforms out there. Dylan, we finally had your favorite tag team on the podcast today, brother. I ended up buying your hat on down the road, so I know you at least sold a couple of them, but man, it's finally good to have the boys on, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks again. DB said it, but seriously, this means a lot. Thank you. I didn't get a chance to tell you in person after the Cup, so we're going to say it live on air here. That weekend you guys had, starting with the Dan and Cody match at Freelance, and then moving through all 3 rounds of the Road Warrior Cup at Glory. Just an incredible weekend. That was something special. That's not something everybody can do as far as match quality-wise, as far as having the crowd behind you, keeping the energy. I mean, 4 matches in the weekend is, 4 matches of those quality, too, is it was special. It's awesome to see you guys get to win. And like DB said, just keep it up. And thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, DB.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, of course. All right. We'll never miss a New Guys podcast and never miss a New Guys match this Saturday night live on IWTV. They putting the Dreamwave tag team titles on the line versus the Premier. Tune in, check it out, see what it's all about with the New Guys. And we're top guys, and we're out of here. Thank you for listening.